Alright, January has come and gone. We've already listened to new music. There are 12 albums I listened to last month, so I'm just gonna get right into it.
Take drugs and feel relaxed, it's like that therapeutic. She take that pussy on call back so she won't think I need it. Made it.
I put it this way. This is one of the more enjoyable Gunna projects that I've listened to in the last couple of years. Honestly, I'm not really a fan of his music because he just seems to follow the same tropes in his music. He likes a Birkin bag, ice on his wrist. Oh, and don't forget, he also likes to have his dick get that Guac Guac 3000, as he would mention a lot on this fucking album. Instrumentally, the songs aren't really that bad. I did like that aspect of the music, but they mostly just follow the same plucky guitar-based instrumental, and it never seems to go anywhere, but I guess it's better than Wanna. A band I had the pleasure of interviewing about 2 years ago, Infected Brain drops their 5th studio album, and after re-listening to their previous project Endorphin, I see a clear shift in the lyricism and songwriting, as Lena Scissorhands, the lead singer, does take writing credit for the whole band, and this is some of the band's best writing to date. A standout is the song Goodbye, which touches on the subjects of mental illness and eating disorders with an opening verse that is truly haunting to hear. I'm so hungry, but the food makes me nauseous, feeling sick when I'm looking in the mirror, desperate to find the reason of my failure. I'm still hoping and begging, I'm begging for forever. But instrumentally, the mix is kind of like a combination of symphonic metal, deathcore, and metalcore on a few tracks, utilizing harsh vocal cries and beautiful clean vocals that just seem very seamless as Lena belts above these aspects in the same breath as one another. I also really enjoy the Heidi Shepard feature from Butcher Babies featured on Realm of Chaos as they trade verses, and I really do enjoy their chemistry as well. I do think that the album may be a little bit too long and some of the songs didn't really catch my attention, but if you're a fan of Infected Brain like myself, you will enjoy this album. The Weeknd outdoes himself again with another album that expresses that 80s synth-pop style and really allows this album to open up conceptually for the supposed trilogy of Weeknd albums that are supposed to follow this same concept, with this being the second project after After Hours. I do prefer the more varied sounds that After Hours had, but Dawn FM I think I prefer more as a concept. As After Hours kind of laid the groundwork for what the trilogy is setting up to be, Dawn FM just amps it up even more and makes me even more thrilled to hear the upcoming closer of the trilogy. The synths are more prominent than ever, the Weeknd's vocals are more falsetto and just seem to improve with every single album that he drops, and I think that this will definitely be something for the mainstream media as well without sounding over commercialized. And not to mention the various Jim Carrey interludes that are throughout this project that kind of add to the songs a little bit more. Favorite songs probably How Do I Make You Love Me, Out of Time, and Best Friends.
I've been traveling around these crossroads. Gotta compromise some shit, but that's a small toll. Hey, crazy.
This sophomore project from Cordae is a project that I was worried about, but after several listens, I was sold. This project conceptually is all about the passage of time, and he also likes to draw comparisons about his past, and especially lost ones, who on some of the tracks towards the end, he literally mentions who the song is dedicated to. And the idea of how lost family or friends can really change your character drastically, or for the better. Now, this concept isn't very that foreign. Cordae constantly mentions throughout this project how much he wants to have everyone know his name before he dies, but he's not urgent about how much time he has left because he knows that it will be a while. Instrumentals also utilize this older type boom bap instrumental similar to Dr. Dre. The instrumentals a lot of the time on this album have this very wavy sort of calming instrumental with a lot of great production by Hit Boy, which kind of sells me on the album a little bit more. With Cordae utilizing a more soft, gentle cadence and delivery, which I thought I wouldn't enjoy but ended up liking a lot. Mama's Hood displaying brilliant storytelling, which makes it a very enjoyable song, but also the rhyme schemes and seamless flows from Cordae are littered throughout the project, and not to mention how much Cordae really does evolve as an artist, and not to mention the very jazzy instrumentals on songs like Jean Michel or Champagne Glasses, and also pretty much almost all of the features don't overstay their welcome. Freddie Gibbs, Cordae, and Stevie Wonder was a collab I didn't know I needed until I heard it. Some of the songs are definitely throwaways, but I think overall this is a great project from Cordae.
Through the leaves on familiar tracks, I know what's real even when I'm feeling bad. Brazilian as they built the black.
Oh lord, Earl. An album I was not expecting and prepared for, as Earl has not dropped a project since 2019 with Feet of Clay, but with the sort of underwhelming performance of that project, which was overshadowed by the amazing Some Rap songs from 2018, I think Earl has really won me over again. Instrumentally, I enjoy this sort of lo-fi production, and I think that the beats are very minimalist, but I think that only adds to the very basic and kind of abstract delivery that Earl has been known for, and as his project's getting more and more darker in themes, I believe this project is great. The beats are phenomenal, mixing influences of soul and R&B, things that we've heard Earl done before, but, you know, it may not be as well polished as some rap songs or as dreary. I think what Earl does the best on this album is his unique production choices, like for the sample on Tabula Rasa, even though I'm not really a big fan of Armand Hammer's verse. Earl's pen game has always been top notch, and he still brings it to the table on this album, so there's no worry on that aspect. Sometimes his delivery is too present to ignore, as if he was just way too drunk or to be in front of a mic. Songs like God Laughs, Vision, 2010, and my personal favorite, Titanic, are great tracks, and despite this very short runtime, you can tell that a lot of care went into this project, and Six arrangement never got distracting on this project at all either. A project I went headfirst on, and I will say that I'm not really interested in listening to this album further besides a few tracks. But don't get me wrong, the instrumentals are chaotic, the guitars are being a very big standout to me, and as a lot of the guitar work from Gabe Mangold is more impressive, and it's just covered front to back with songs like Unleash Hell or Reanimate/Disintegrate that has things like back and forth high screams and low growls with great chemistry, and even the clean vocals on Unleash Hell deliver more than originally expected. The songs have a lot of integral parts to them, but lyrically this album suffers from a little bit too cliche of lyrics. And yes, I know it's a deathcore album, you're not supposed to be Kendrick Lamar, but you need to be original. The singing has a lot of emotion behind it, but this album does not deliver as a full project. Half of the songs I found myself just waiting for something different, or waited for the song to be over. And the numerous production goofs, like on They Have No Honor, where the vocal mix is very, very muddy, and the guitars and drums are boosted so high that the vocals are just drowned out. Sort of like Lorna Shore's To the Hellfire, but a little bit more clear to understand. It's a shame because I have a huge love for Enterprise Earth and their 2017 project Embodiment, and as you see, I was kind of disappointed in the outcome, as it just left more to be desired. An album that is possibly, so far, the most beautiful album I've listened to all year. I enjoy this style of hip-hop that adds these ethereal elements and almost dreamlike instrumentals and vocals, which before I forget, this album is just all throughout beautiful performances, and Twigs does not miss on any track. A term I found while researching was trip hop, and this is definitely a great intro into that genre. These angelic vocal harmonies, such as on Meta Angel, which remind me a lot of 808s and Heartbreak Kanye, but just as the autotune complements Kanye, it does for Twigs as well. On songs like my favorite one, Light Beamers, which just adds to the Floating to the Moon playlist. The amazingly futuristic and almost video game-like instrumental on Which Way also just adds so much production value to the already amazing project. A lot of the songs in this album like to focus on love, which is cool, but I more enjoy the story behind Twigs herself with these voice clips that pop throughout. It adds a lot of personality to the songs, and it also paints a picture of how Twigs is as a person, and that just transcends into her art so well. It kind of gives you more of a scope to how they are writing and their mindset building up to it. Caprisongs is an amazing project. Fun fact, I bought a ticket for their concert because of this album, and the reason why this video is so late is because I'm literally going to their show today as I'm recording this. But this might be an album that I just enjoy maybe a little bit too much, but I just cannot stop listening to it. I mean shit, the fast-paced circle pit starter that is the song Pandora, and also that breakdown is just S tier. The clean vocals that just reverberate and just contrast the heavy screams from Joe Badolato on Far From Heaven, which literally sounds like a holy war. Which, you know, very fitting, and that guitar solo on top, just chef's kiss. The sing-along factor that In the Shadows has in the chorus and the pre-chorus, the long but so worth it build-up and charge that a higher level of hate possesses, and also the very protesting nature that is also not too in our face about the message. The guitar riffs that Collateral Damage has all throughout are definitely a standout feature. The hate and anger that seeds off of Savages, that I thought was just going to be a generic deathcore track to hype up the crowd, but this guy has something that he is pissed off about, and he's going to let everyone know about it. And the unique percussion on Conditional Healing that took me a little to get used to, but it's just such a unique song in the context of the album, which focuses on the subject of how your future will affect our world in one way or another, just as the album cover pictures Mother Nature and her child, Earth. I just love this album a lot. It is a very intellectual deathcore album that I highly suggest anyone check out. Well, I guess Skillet are just never gonna learn. The best way to describe this is a Skillet album.
This shit sucks!
It's literally almost virtually the same album that they have released since 2016's Unleashed. It is a basic Christian pop rock album that utilizes way too many electronic elements and genre fusions to make rock sound modern, and let me just get into that in the next month's episode. They just end up making the equivalent of a church rock band that has no other nuance to it. Coming from someone who grew up in a Christian family, this album is just so derivative. The worst part about this album is just the decision to have John Cooper rap. Throughout the project, it is covered in these shittily made hip-hop drums and 808s that you can just tell are very manufactured, and the rapping is just cringy on possibly the worst song I've heard this year, White Horse. It's loud, it's annoying, the production sucks as well. Even though Skillet is known for their Christian themes and their symbolism, a little editing note, after doing some research I found out that this is what the song is actually about, but it is so terribly written that I can't even tell. Like, the album is very hypocritical, pandering, and is just problematic on all angles, and I honestly just do not see myself ever wanting to listen to any Skillet album past their 2014 project. Underoath's second album release after their return to the metalcore scene in 2015, this is their 9th project and first to be self-produced, and they have created my favorite Underoath album to date. Underoath have already cemented their stay with their 2004 project, which shot them up to the emo scene indefinitely. The performances on the Voyeurist are so full of anguish and emotion that it can genuinely be upsetting at some of the lyrical content on this project. The song, I'm pretty sure, delivers a piece about someone experiencing an overdose, and it's relatively slower for a metalcore project, but the story being told is so well written and the vocal performance only accentuates that further. I also see that there is a little bit of a shift to post-hardcore on this album too, but I'm all for it honestly. Hallelujah consisting of a choir backing the screams, and it is the most catchy song on the album. Bought a ticket to their concert because of this album, and also, look at that fucking lineup. And sorry, but I have to mention Cycle. Having Ghostmane scream with Spencer Chamberlain is an amazing collaboration, and I got that on repeat. This album is simply an amazing change of pace and sound, and Underoath just shows that they are timeless.
All these changes, fuck it, don't make me play this.
I mean, I don't really see what better things he is attempting on this album. Like, I draw a lot of comparisons to his EP that I listened to before on the channel. It seems like Dior tries to tap into the pop punk / pop rap style, but it's just so unaware of its own identity. I kind of enjoyed a lot of the more guitar-based instrumentals and live drums compared to the generic melodic rap instrumentals that you can just find by searching up Juice WRLD type beat on YouTube. Weirdly enough, obvious with Travis Barker I admire for trying something different with the guitar riffs and styles, and also the sinking interlude is probably the best performance I've heard from Dior in general. If anything, why not give this guy an opportunity at making a pop-punk album? Blackbear is starting to do it, as we saw on his Instagram, so there's a lot of filler on this project, and I was hoping for more, but what I got was basically the same project.
I got millions, I gon' buy a big house. Lord, forgive if it's civilians, when I let that stick out.
Speaking of identity crisis, this is possibly one of Youngboy's worst albums. I cannot identify a song that sounds like Youngboy, but I can probably name 10 songs that sound like other artists. Expensive Taste sounds like a Roddy Ricch clone, even though it is one of the better songs on the album. No Switch sounds like a Trippie Redd joint. Snow Bunny sounds like a more hyped up Gunna. Smoke One sounds like a King Von track. Emo Love and Emo Rockstar are such Juice WRLD ripoffs it's not even funny, even though I've learned to love Emo Love and Emo Rockstar. Bring the Hook sounds like a Lil Wayne track circa 2007. Fish Scale sounds like something Fabio would have been putting out. Foolish Figure sounds like Polo G, and Two Who sounds like a Jeffrey style of Young Thug. Albeit though, I will give him credit for him willing to change styles and experiment with different sounds, but the songs don't have any Youngboy. It's almost like he remixes every song rather than making an original piece. And after listening to Sincerely Kentrell back in September, I will say that is one of his most mature projects to date, and clearly there is no growth on this album, which is what disappoints me the most.